Hey everyone, I'm Travis Wright, and you're listening to I'm a Fan of, your show for music, comedy, and more. As always, if you are a musician, a comedian, or just someone that does something interesting, please reach out to me on Instagram at TravisCanListen. You can find me on Facebook at I'm a Fan of, or you can reach out to me through the website at I'mAFanOfPod.com. If you just enjoy the show, please follow me there as well. Like and subscribe to everything so you know when it's coming out. And take a look around, people. We're in a new studio. I've been working really hard to get this studio set up. I absolutely love it. The old space was great, but this one's even better. I hope to use this to bring you some fantastic interviews, some new video projects, some new reviews. I think I'm going to be able to use this space for a lot of cool things over, the future things to come. So please stick with me. I think you're going to enjoy it. Thank you if you've been listening this long. We just got an upgrade. We are about to make stuff that's really effing cool. Speaking of which, first guest in the new place, hilarious stand-up comic from right here in DFW, TJ Evans. We talk about multiple things. I didn't know his education background, which is really interesting. We also go down this dark, hole, no pun intended. We go down this rabbit hole of childbirth and what it was like to see our wives give birth. As well as just talking about his comedy career, his goals and aspirations, what he's been through, where he's going. Very nice guy. I really wish him all the best. I'm so happy he came on the show so we could share him with you. Let's just get into it. This is TJ Evans. The I'm a Fan of podcast, music, comedy, and more. All right, TJ Evans.
Hey.
What's up, dude?
Oh, my gosh, man.
We were just going on. I was about to start gushing about how I'm so excited you're the first person in this new studio, man. The new setup.
Yes.
I'm pumped about it. I'm pumped to have you here.
Yes,
and,
man.
Right off the bat, I want to talk about, I'm a little frustrated with you. Because so I went and saw you at Mana's open mic,
right?
Well, a couple weeks ago,
Twilight,
baby.
Yeah.
And you were talking. You had some bits going on about Black History Month.
Yeah.
Okay, and how it's. I'm not going to step all over your bit.
Yeah.
But one of the parts that you did that has lived in my brain since then was when you referred to President's Day as Master's Day.
Oh yeah, yes, sir. Master's Day.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I think that was the hardest I've laughed at an open mic in a while. Because that was a predominantly white crowd,
yeah, and
nobody knew how to react, and I was like, in my mind, because I do this thing a lot where in my mind I'm laughing, and I forget to laugh out loud, right? And I'm in my mind I'm going, that's funny, but nothing comes out, and I realized the silence of people trying to decide, like, are we allowed to laugh at it? Because I think you even said, like, I said it on purpose, like,
I said it wrong on purpose,
and as soon as it was quiet for like 10 seconds, I just died laughing, and I'm like the only one. And then the whole group's kind of like, I think we can laugh. But now, like, the whole last couple of weeks, I've been like, Jesus, that kind of is like, it's kind of weird we put President's Day in the middle of Black History Month. That's kind of strange. That definitely seems like we'll give you the month.
Right.
But
yes.
But anyway.
Yes.
So yeah, thanks for that, man. Thanks for dropping that in my mind.
That's what I try to do, man. Before we go on, man, like I said, I really appreciate you having me. First person in this setup. This is fucking dope. Can I curse on that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I was going to invite you earlier, but I was like, no. I want him in the new studio. I want him in the new studio.
I felt like that you was going to be like, I'm trying to get Joe Rogan in here first.
Yeah,
and then,
of course.
We'll get you other guys.
Yeah. No, man, first of all, it's never like that. I love our comedy scene. I love the comics we have here, man.
Yeah, man.
And Joe's always welcome. But in all honesty, if Joe Rogan was like, I want to be interviewed on your podcast, it almost wouldn't be as fun because you hear Joe all the time.
All the time.
You know what I mean? So it would be fun for me, but I don't know that as a listener would really care about it.
Right.
I think he's on like almost 2,000 episodes now. Holy shit. Yeah, dude, he's getting up there. So no, I love having y'all. I do remember the first time I watched you was at Rollertown.
Yeah, Salina.
That was like 2 or 3 years ago now, right?
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you tell me then that you had taken a break and you were like jumping back into comedy then?
Yeah. So like it was the whole situation of, pandemic hit and everything.
That's right.
And like initially when it hit, everybody was like, all right, whatever. But then, more information comes out and my own paranoia took over. So, literally not to bring down the mood at all, but at one point I was confined to like my room for 3 months straight. Was so nervous just to come out.
Really?
And didn't even go outside. I was scared to come out of my bedroom. And so, but got married, moved out. At the time I was with my parents. I was living with my parents, moved out, was living with my wife, and we raised the family over the course of the pandemic, and then it was just like, all right, we gotta. This is good. We safe. We good now. But it's like, what's the next step?
Yeah.
And we had to get back into it. So that's what it was. I think literally, I did a few shows. Not a few. I did quite a few during the pandemic. But that's when I actually started getting paid. That's what I liked about it. It was like, okay, at least when I'm stepping out the house, even though I'm slightly scared and nervous about it, getting paid. And so,
how long had you been doing comedy before the break with COVID?
6 months.
Oh, okay. I didn't, because you feel so. You look like you're more comfortable than somebody who'd only been doing it that long. Like now, obviously, it's been a couple of years since then. But even at Rollertown, I was like, oh, Michael Pasvar, who books that, I was like, oh, Mike got somebody. I was like, because I think I asked you, I was like, well, where you been performing? You seem super comfortable, and you're like, no, I just got back out here, man.
Yeah, literally,
cool.
just hopped back out, and I owe that to one. Nick Hawk.
Okay.
You know him? Or I think he does go by Nick Hawk, but I know it's like Nick Ryan Hawk, whatever. He's a comic on the scene, and he really got me into the whole virtual shit that was going on during the pandemic, which I was completely against it because, as you mentioned, the whole comfortability being on stage. Yeah. I always love getting on stage. And so getting into a situation where now I'm doing it in front of my phone or a computer, I'm like, I don't want to do that. And kept dodging it. He reached out to me probably maybe 6 or 7 times till I actually did it. And just kept like, hey, come on, man, do it.
And you're just sitting in your bedroom scared of the pandemic.
Or sitting around the crib. Yeah.
Wow. That's it. So the majority of your first shows were like the pandemic Zoom type shows?
Oh, like you talking about just when I was first coming back out.
No. You said somebody got you out on Nick Hawk got you out on stage before the pandemic?
No, he got me back out, like my hiatus that I took during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So he got me back into it.
Okay. But those were some of your first shows, were the Zoom shows.
Him with he was doing a roast show, which was real dope. And I've always loved roasting, but hadn't been able to really get into it. It wasn't a lot of opportunities to do it.
You seem like you would be great at roasting because even the set I saw you do recently, you'll say some kind of tough shit,
for sure,
but you have a very friendly vibe about you. You know what I mean? Like you can get away with saying some really bad shit if you wanted to.
Yes.
And because I was thinking about that on the ride home, I was like, he comes across as this like happy-go-lucky dude, like, hey, what's going on? Shaking hands. Right. But you'll say some shit where people clinch up real fast. That's fun, dude.
Yeah. That's what I love about it, because that's what comedy's supposed to be, man. You're supposed to be able to say what's authentic to you and gotta make it funny.
Yeah.
I think that's where some people miss the mark too, because I've noticed some folks who don't want to necessarily name them just, social justice warriors. It don't matter which side of the political spectrum you on. It's social justice warriors, period, on both sides. But it'll be people who get up there on stage and will be, giving a lecture. And it's like, where do we laugh? You know what I'm saying? And
it's like, you're not going to come up here and say some really super prolific stuff that's going to change everyone's beliefs at this comedy show.
Not at this open mic.
Yeah, right. Like you're not there as a performer. And then, like, to your earlier point, it's like you can say whatever you want if it's really funny.
If it's funny.
If it's funny, you can. I mean, I'm sure you're familiar with Andrew Santino. He just put out his new special, Cheeseburger. Have you watched it?
Man, I've seen the clips they have on Netflix, but I haven't watched it
it's so
all
good.
the way through.
It's so good. I just watched it a couple days ago, and like he's got a point in there where the premise is that he is swearing at a Down syndrome kid, a girl, and he somehow brings race into the equation. Right? So he's just stepping all over these, like, don't touch that, don't touch that, don't touch that.
Yeah.
And just proving, like, if it's funny, you can do what you want.
You can.
It's just, like you said, people get up there and they're just like, that. I've noticed there's this gap between open mic and, like, steady work, where they're doing the bar mics and stuff, where that whole, like, I'm going to say something shocking comes out. Yeah. And it seems like there's that hurdle they got to get over. And I've seen enough of them now where it's kind of, it's not cringy, but you feel it and you're looking around the bar like, oh, are they going to go for this? I don't think they're going for it.
And that's the thing about, you know what? I love bar mics because it might sound weird to folks who are consistently in clubs.
Yeah.
When you in clubs and everything, that environment is tailored. It's ready. It's good to go. You just got to go out there and be funny. But with a bar mic, you got to work for that.
Yeah.
And so that's how I started, was doing bar mics where it'd be sports bar, folks is looking at the TV that's behind the bar, making their orders behind the bar, and you were behind them with a microphone in the middle of the establishment, trying to get their attention. And so way that I would do that is, I do the, if you're happy, at the beginning of my set. I got other like different song type things in there, but you also try to say the shocking stuff. But I ended up roasting people eventually.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, I loved it.
Nice.
Yeah, man, because I don't know. That was something that, I'm from Indiana, Indianapolis. We called it Jonan. And so.
Called it Jonan?
Jonan is what it's called.
Okay.
Yeah. And so Jonah, it would happen just regularly to me because I was always the fat kid.
Okay.
And I was cool with everybody, so I was an easy target.
Oh, so this isn't like at comedy shows. You just mean in general.
Oh, no. So like that's what that would be, or that's how it originated for me.
Okay.
So I grew up dealing with that and was able to really grasp how to do it because some people were just thinking a lot faster than I was, or at least I didn't think like that because I was just too nice. But being in that realm, I don't know what it is about once I put a mic in my hand. You know what I'm saying?
It's like a little force field, right?
Exactly.
Like, there's a little protection. And you think like, well, these other people will stop this person if they rush the stage, right? I'm honestly shocked the amount of comedy shows I've been to and the amount of professional and like local comics, like whether they're the international touring comics or the locals here.
Yeah.
The amount of people who have shit all over a crowd member and not gotten punched. It blows my mind. Like, it is weird how something about that stage and that mic, it will keep even an asshole in check. Like there's very few instances where someone gets attacked, right?
Yes.
And it always kind of blows my mind.
Yeah.
Because like I would think, especially as a guy, right? Like guys are much more hittable.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What?
You've never thought somebody's going to come up on the stage at you?
No, never for me.
Never for you?
Never for me. I've had one time where somebody was physically like upset with me. Never like where they touched me or anything, but he was like sitting right in front of the stage. My thing is, first off, why are you sitting right in front of the stage and you are not laughing the entire night? So it wasn't just for me, it was for every single person. And so I'm seeing this guy, and I'm interacting with the crowd, try to reach out to give him a fist bump, and he's like,
He said no.
I'm like, all right, shout out to this dude who got only 4 teeth and 2 of them in his pocket, and then got the room off that and was making fun of his girl and everything, but then was able to go on with my set.
Yeah.
So it was no issue there. He took it and left where it was, and so it's stuff like that has to happen.
Yeah.
To pull the crowd in. Because like I mentioned, with the bar mics and shit, that was the kind of stuff you had to do to get everybody's attention, to actually listen to the material you wrote.
I think that's what those edgy people are trying to do. They're like, if I'll say something shocking, I'll get attention. Right?
Yeah, it goes too far.
And then they have the attention and they're like, it's almost like when you've ever had a dog who corners a squirrel, but they've never actually attacked a squirrel.
Right.
And so then it's like they said something shocking, they have the bar's attention, and they're like, oh.
What do I do?
So Uber, right? Like, and it goes right.
This guy knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Where are you from?
Right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I loved it.
So
man.
You said you're from Indianapolis, huh?
Yes, sir.
What made you come down here?
My family. I was initially, so I went to school, college out in Indiana. Went to Wabash College. Shout out to my peoples. But went there, and then when I graduated, or before I even graduated, my freshman year, my family had moved down here.
Okay.
My dad, had a new job, whatever, so moved him down here. So they just left me. So I was there, worked for a couple years, as a chemist, and then moved down here, left the whole chemistry thing behind, and was like, I want to do something different. And
left chemistry behind.
Yeah.
How did you feel about getting your chemistry degree? Is that what it is?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? How high did you go with it?
Oh, just got my bachelor's.
Bachelor's. What was that path like? Because I only took, what is it, like chemistry 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh my fucking God. It's so brutal.
Yeah.
And I did not do well in that. And I was so frustrated because it's a subject that I really wanted to understand, right? Because it unlocks so much knowledge.
Oh, yeah.
What was your experience getting your chemistry degree?
It was good. It wasn't the same as everyone else's because they tried to fuck me over.
What do you mean?
So they had everybody do was it a math assessment or writing assessment before you got on campus?
Okay.
And so then that determined what your schedule would be, at least for your primary classes. And so they had me.
Wait, what would that have to do with deciding your courses, though? What does that matter?
Thank you.
What would you have to write about?
So like the writing prompt was just to see, what already turned me off about it. One is that I already took SAT, ACT, which test me on that right there.
Yeah.
So this school,
so it's just like the basic writing and comprehension that they want you to do, like just write an essay about.
Basically, so they wanted to see where they would have to place you because everybody, people got different majors that they wanted to do or whatever. It was because my math assessment was, I guess, as high as they wanted it to be for the chemistry major. They started me literally at 101 when it was supposed to be 111, I think.
Okay.
And so started me there, and I had to do a bunch of in-between courses where it was only me and maybe 2 other people in the classroom. Yeah. And I only ended up being the only person who made it through that route all the way through and graduated with the other people who took the regular route.
Doesn't it feel like that's kind of a scam to get you to take more classes?
For sure.
Pay more money, pay more tuition,
they
right?
got all their money out of me.
Right?
They got all of it.
What made you decide on a chemistry degree?
It was the only thing that made sense.
What do you mean makes sense? No,
in my head.
But hold on, you have to elaborate. Chemistry was the only thing that made sense.
Only thing
were you
that made sense.
Were you rocking hard on chemistry in high school? Is that what was going on? Or?
Yeah, definitely did. I took multiple. So I took like AP course for chemistry. After the regular course you have to take, and my teacher that I had, Mr. Floyd, he made it just so easy to understand.
Dude, it's so rare. Shout out to good science teachers.
For sure.
Because it's hard, man, because so many science teachers are incredibly knowledgeable.
Yeah.
And part of what makes them knowledgeable is that they're nerds who love this stuff. And that doesn't always translate to good, skills in the classroom, talking to teenagers who don't give a shit about this stuff. You know what I mean? It's like they could be geniuses, but they don't know how to relate it. That's why guys like Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye are so incredible. Is they're great orators. They can communicate. Neil
deGrasse Tyson is literally one of my favorite human beings.
Dude, he's one of the few I got a man crush on.
Right?
Because you're like he's super smart, and then you see those old pictures of him where he's kind of buff, and you're like,
oh
wait,
yeah,
he wrestled? Like he was cool.
He had to strip his way through school.
What?
Did you hear about that?
He was a stripper?
He was a male stripper.
No.
He had
Neil deGrasse Tyson was a stripper.
No, we clown these women who stripped to get through nursing, to get through law school. We clown them for it. But literally one of the smartest people to ever touch this earth, Neil deGrasse Tyson, did the same thing.
Man. Well, now I really want to talk to him.
Now you want to talk to him.
Oh, my God. I mean, he was so incredible. I've always said if I was a woman, stripping would be on the table.
Come on.
Now, I might go to another state. I might get away from the family. But, if you could make the money, and then, because I guess the problem is like you just got to make sure you don't get a cocaine habit, right? Yeah. And you don't blow all your money on that. But if you stripped for a couple years and then bought like a couple rental properties and went to school, you know what I mean?
Done.
And it's like I would just put my little thong or whatever I wore like up in I would frame it,
right?
And I'd be like, this is what paid for the degree and the house. I got my chemistry degree.
And I wear that proudly.
Oh,
nobody can tell me nothing.
And it makes sense, right? That's why all this OnlyFans stuff is getting so huge because women have realized like, I can make all this money. And it's like some of them are slicker about it than others.
For sure.
Some of them are just a little rough around the edges. Like it's like you really shouldn't be on OnlyFans. Like,
and they're making pennies off of that. I heard.
Yeah.
Like it's only like 1% is actually making 5,000 plus a month.
Oh wow. Yeah, I'd have to be making some serious cash to do it.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm not judging anybody who does it, but in addition to showing off everything you got, it's just a lot of work.
Yeah.
Right? You're essentially doing what I want to do on this podcast, but you're naked. Like you have to think of like schedules, film, put it all out there. It's like you got to be making some money.
Yeah. Actually, now that you put it like that, because you really don't think of it that way.
It's a business.
You have to, because you're creating something. You literally having to have the mental fortitude to put
dude,
this together.
Just like comedy, just like anything that's an artistic venture, which technically porn is an artistic venture, right?
It is.
Like, you have to be a business person about it, because how many other OnlyFans pages are there that people could go to if you're not keeping up on your content, right? It's just like anything. So it's like, I could see that now. To be really, really great at it, there's probably only a few of them.
Yeah, we got to put more respect on the OnlyFans. We got.
I love how OnlyFans keeps trying to go back to non-pornography.
Come on, man.
They're like, I think it's I think Whitney Cummings might be doing a comedy special on there or something, and they're trying. And it's like, I just don't think it's going to work.
I'm good. I'm good after her last special, to be honest with you.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry, we got off track. We were talking about what, Neil deGrasse Tyson, hot strippers, smart people, chemistry, good science teachers. So you had a great science teacher,
phenomenal,
who got you hooked on chemistry and all that.
Yeah, and I had nothing but great teachers throughout college as well. When it came to chemistry, and they understood my route and understood that I really was put at a disadvantage, because a lot of the stuff that because I went to all male school, let me throw that out there too. Okay. So before I say other guys, like there weren't no women in my courses, there literally weren't. But there were, for the other guys, they all got a foundation. My foundation wasn't like theirs. They had me doing bullshit and then threw me to the sharks, basically.
Bullshit how? Like what?
Oh, I mean, it was, I wanted to say remedial, but it was lower level stuff
in
that
high school?
I would eventually have to, no, this is all college.
Oh, college. Sorry, college.
This is all college, because I did AP courses at high school. But because I fucked up on one assessment, math assessment, they put me all the way down here. So all the stuff I'm doing, I'm acing, no problem, whatever, doing great edit. And then they finally throw me in with everybody else in my graduating class.
Oh, I got you.
You know, and we're doing the same courses now, and I don't have the same foundation as them. So I'm literally having to go and learn stuff that they had months to learn, that I got to learn right now in a couple of days, so I can understand this new stuff that we're all learning together in class.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
I had the exact opposite experience with college, which was I went to a really small school. We were like one of the worst schools in Texas. And it's not an exaggeration. Like, I do believe we were in like the bottom ranking of schools in Texas.
You want to shout them out?
Oh yeah, it's Community ISD out in Nevada, Texas. They might be great now. I don't know. But yeah. And it's just, we had 80 people in my graduating class. Oh, wow, small town. And, I don't know how hard it is to get incredible teachers to go to a small town school. Teachers already pay like shit, so I assume smaller town schools are paid even more shit.
Yeah.
And then you have like small town politics involved with it. Like we went to one of those schools where I think it's still the same, but like Texas, for sex education, you're allowed to teach abstinence only. I believe that's still the same. I'm sorry if I'm fucking that up, but so like we already had the the football coach is like the history teacher and the health ed health teacher, and so they really don't want to talk about that. So it definitely turns into like a the best way to prevent any of this stuff is just don't do it at all ever until you're married.
That coach from Mean Girls.
Yeah, right? Exactly.
Like, you kiss each other, you die.
You die. Yeah. And so a lot of the, now there were some good teachers, and then I also was a student who just fucked off all the time because I got super rebellious when I was young. So anything to do with that small town or small mind thinking, it's like I went against it.
I'm not getting that vibe from you, Travis.
Oh my God. I won't say it on the microphone, but it was rowdy, and I'm scared now that I have a kid and he's got my rowdy ways in him, and I'm like, shit. But anyway, because I fucked off in high school so much, it's like I did enough to pass, and that's all I did. And then I got to a community college, and I did that same assessment you're talking about.
Yeah.
But like I really needed the assessment because it's like, where the fuck do we put this guy? And oh my God, that's when I realized I was so embarrassed when I realized like I didn't learn shit in high school. and it wasn't for lack of ability, right? Like it was just fucking off. Like none of my parents went to college. We didn't have a lot of higher education people in my family. So there was nobody to say like, this is important.
Okay.
They knew it was important, but they didn't know how to push you or show like, here's what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like if they had known how to do that, they would have done it.
Yeah.
And so it was like, I think the remedial math course I went to, I don't remember what it was, but it was like the fucking number line. It was, and I looked around at these stupid people around me, and I was like,
now come on.
"Oh God, I gotta fucking tighten up."
And you paying money for
yeah,
this.
yeah. I mean, it was still like, luckily, it was community college prices, but you're just going around, just going like, "Oh my God, I'm looking at the fucking number line," and it's like they're talking to you like the numbers go positive this way and they go negative this way, and you look around and there's someone like taking notes. They're like positive, negative, and they're not someone from like another country who's like trying to, like these are my peers. Like,
right. These folks you grew up around.
Yeah, I'm a remedial dummy with some other remedial dummies here. And that's when I kicked it into high gear, because like I was working a shitty job, all this stuff, and I was like, I am not going to be in these remedial classes my whole fucking life. And so yeah, I had a totally different experience. I deserved every bit of remedial coursework. It was brutal. Oh my God. And now it's like, now in my late 30s, like I love astronomy so much.
Really?
Oh, I love it. And so chemistry, physics, all of these things, it's now I'm considering, do I go back to school just for fun to learn those things on a deeper understanding? Because, I can have an intelligent person like Neil deGrasse Tyson or Janet Levin talk to me about like black holes. But I feel like mathematically, you're going to understand it far more than you ever could just an explanation.
Of course. I guess what I'll ask is, if you do learn mathematically how it works, in which ways do you plan to use that or disseminate that, distribute it?
Well,
in any way,
it would probably just be for my own personal thing. I mean, because with your chemistry degree, right?
For sure.
That has to does that make you view the world differently now that you know, like, all these things, how they combine, how they form, how they change?
I think the biggest thing I got out of it, just not just simply understanding how these molecules work, but it's the thing of being able to dissect and look at different outcomes. So what we also talk about in chemistry is, if I put this and this together, what happens? And of course, that's the basics of it. You see mad scientists putting things in there, whatever, but we're looking at the molecular level. How does it change that? And what happens at that change? But you also look at too, that it's not always just as simple as 1 and 2 together make this. It's, you got to start all the way over here. You got to spin some shit, a certain chemical over here to separate certain bonds, to then take the good part you want and put that through other parts, and then you finally get to where 1 and 2 go together, and it makes this. And so what that has allowed me to do in any realm is to, predict what may be the outcome if I take this step or this step. And so I do that a lot with my comedy. And so in my comedy, I'll look at, okay, I'll write this joke, but if I say it like this, what's the reaction? Or if I use this certain word, does it change the impact of the joke? And so it allows me to be real nerdy about it. And it works out mostly in my favor, just because I already predict the outcome prior to stepping on stage. So doing new material usually goes well for me. But
I get what you're saying, though, because you're looking at it in terms of, I'm going to take 5 or 6 steps to get this outcome. And I need 5 or 6 steps. If I skip 4 or 3, it's not going to work. Yeah,
but that's the thing that I miss about chemistry, because it's about being book smart and about, there's a definite answer.
Yeah.
Definite answer. When it comes to math, phenomenal at math. It's a definite answer. 2 + 1 is always going to be 3. It doesn't change. Never. And so when it comes to comedy, though, I can do these different things, but not every crowd's going to find it funny.
Yeah.
And you try to figure out how do I need to say it, or what elements need to be in here to get at least most crowds to laugh at it. And then that's when you really start to propel and take off, because now you can appeal and, really, connect with different groups of people, and people will feel better about throwing you out there on stage in front of a sold out crowd, because they know how you can connect and you can do it well with your material.
That is interesting that you're somebody who likes the definite and absolutes.
Oh man, I
but then you also love the totally subjective. You only have a certain level of control. Yep. You're driving a car on ice, basically, right? Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, when you were talking about math being so definite and finite, that I think that's why I want to go back. Which sounds crazy. Like if young me would hear me talking about wanting to do math as a hobby, and plus, my son's 3 now, so I was like, if I start getting back into it now. You want to be that dad who can help with the homework.
100%.
Right? And like 100%. Really understand it and not be like, just fuck, it's this. Like, hey, you fucking stupid. And so, I thought like, okay, I've got to learn this so that I can be that. But also, I love astronomy because there is, I look at the whole universe and everything with just wonder of like, we really don't know anything about it. We know almost nothing, but we're using what you said, these absolutes, these finite things that we know now. So I think the pairing of those two things is why I really want to do it. So that if somebody, like they launched the new James Webb space telescope that is making all these incredible things, and it would be great to be able to read someone's research paper with dense math and go, oh, wow, and really get it.
Take it from somebody who had to read a lot of those papers. It's okay, brother.
Yeah.
You're not missing out on
Oh, man. I think, no, I get but it. See, you say that as someone who understands it.
Yeah.
So I think there's a core concept that you'll always miss if you don't understand the science on a deeper level.
100%.
Right? Because you could explain a lot of things in chemistry to me on a layman's level, but you understand it in a way that I never will, just from running those experiments, just from doing the math, just from, what's the exercise in chemistry where you literally are drawing the compounds? And you remember that? And you've got I hated that
just
so much.
Drawing it out because you got to get the bonds and stuff right, based off
very
of how
basic,
many electrons.
Like Chem 1 or whatever.
Right.
And I just remember thinking like, I just want to get it.
Right.
And oh my God, I fucked up so many labs.
Oh, like when you were like mixing and things like that?
Nothing exploded.
For sure.
But, it's taken me a long time to be one of those people who like measures twice and cuts once.
Yeah.
I'm it looks good. It's pretty good. And not accounting for, the curve of the water in the beaker and all the, doing exact stuff. So a lot of my Chem 1 labs were just disasters. You'd see people getting the right stuff and mine's just not doing it. I'm like, God, this is fucking. And then they're like, well, class is over.
Hope you finished what you needed to.
This is for a grade.
Right.
So you got a bad one.
Yes, man. No, but it's so weird too, like you said, to go from doing things that are definite to where it's now, I don't know what's going to happen. Like every time I step out there, I know if that song, if you're happy and you know it, the reason why I always start out like that is because deep throating is very like
it's universal, right?
It's out there, okay. And so, so if I know the crowd knows deep throat and thinks it's funny, okay, we good. We good. I can do the rest of my.
You just
my
tested
material.
the temperature right there. Okay, yeah.
That's the only reason why I do it because, and also too, it completely throws people off guard.
Yeah.
They think they're doing this childish thing, if you're happy and you know it. And it's, no, I'm just fucking up kid songs. Yeah. It's what I'm doing. And I'm literally trying to, what's been so tough about that, because that was one of the first jokes I've ever written. It was just, it literally just popped in my head.
Interesting.
Literally popped in my head. And what I'm trying to do is do that with other children's songs. But there's, trying to. That's all I can say at the moment.
I would imagine.
I'm trying to.
I would imagine that's difficult because you've got to really pick the correct children's song, or people don't get it, right? Because if only half the crowd has kids, right? Like you and me can talk about Bluey, and we know what we're talking about, right? And already half my audience is like, the fuck is Bluey,
right?
And so we could just sit here and talk for 30 minutes about kids shows that our kids are watching right now, and half the people don't get it, but the ones that get it, it goes hard. So it's like you got to go so far back, Twinkle Twinkle and all that kind of stuff, where it's universal and everybody knows.
But exactly like that, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. We already did If You're Happy and You Know It.
Yeah.
What are some other ones like that?
You got to go deep. Humpty Dumpty.
Humpty Dumpty.
Cross buns.
Yes. Yes, Humpty Dumpty. I think I tried with Humpty Dumpty. It's definitely still in the drawing. Like, yeah.
It's already got some of the elements. You're already saying hump, right? You already got something to work with there. That first spoken thing on stage is something I've become really interested in lately.
Right.
Because amateurs, open micers, people who are trying to figure it out, they haven't got openers. They don't know how to grab and go very well, and they're working on it. And I love watching different headliners and features and like legit MCs, how they decide to come on stage, because it's very different, but it's so important because it's just instant. Everybody's judging you immediately. Am I going to like this guy? Is this person going to be funny?
Yep. That's why I wear like these bright ass colors. Like I literally, Hawaiian shirts or whatever.
Yeah.
It makes it easier for people. People know I'm there to be funny.
True.
They know I'm there to put on the show. I got these damn Crocs on, pink Crocs. only little girls wear these pink Crocs, but and it's surprising they make it in my size. And so, but yeah, it's like that kind of stuff. And I had this thought, and you let me know if I'm off.
Okay.
So you know Kill Tony, and one, like when you talk about like intros, David Lucas, same intro every time is and people start laughing instantly.
Yeah, that's interesting.
What I wonder is, because one, with David Lucas, he's well known. He's a regular on that show.
Right.
So people are already excited once he hits the stage. Once they hear his name, through whatever audio recording too, they know he's about to come with it. And so there's that. But I wonder, do you think that's putting people at, I don't know, for new comics, kind of like at a handicap, expecting that people are just going to be so excited just to see you off rip?
Do you mean it's putting new comics at a handicap watching someone open that way?
Yeah, it's just knowing that somebody can do something that's so simple.
It would be interesting to go back to his original debut on Kill Tony, because I can't remember that far back, because he's been a regular for so long. He didn't do it. Yeah, I remember. So it's got to be just him understanding he has a fan base now, and it works. Yeah, because I think when I first started noticing it was there's a guy named John Stringer. Are you familiar with him? John Stringer. He's a headliner that goes around, and he does a mixture of like cruise ships and clubs all the time.
Oh wow, yeah.
But nonstop headliner, working constantly, and he's just like a goofball, When he comes out on stage, he immediately is playing music, and he's doing like a choreographed dance for about like a minute and a half. He's going at it for a minute, fully committed, like not like look at me twerk, like real dance moves.
Oh wow!
And it does like what you're talking about with your Crocs, with your shirt. It like sets that tone, and that was immediately when I thought about, wow, man, how many different ways can you open a show?
Yeah,
and different personalities doing different things, because some of these guys, there's no way they're ever coming out dancing on stage. It's never going to happen,
And you'll see that with, maybe it's because growing up, I remember seeing like Def Jam and seeing like black comics, where I noticed mostly on theirs, when they're coming out to music, they're usually dancing. So like just a little two-step, nothing crazy,
right?
But it's or they might be singing the song, or whatever.
They're mouthing it to the crowd. While they're
mouthing it to
the
the crowd, and the crowd's getting excited and whatever. And so I've seen that, be a
and that's all just that's all like, I'm fun. Look at me, I'm fun. We're gonna have a good time. Yeah, yeah. I think that David Lucas thing is real interesting, because I hadn't thought about it till you just said it. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think it puts people at a handicap watching that, thinking you come up there and go, "Hey guys, hey"?
I think so, because I stress it to people, at least newer comics that I talk to, that you got to figure out some way to make, your presence known on that stage, and simply just walking up there and being like, "All right, guys, hey, how you doing?" and just getting into your joke.
Yeah. The counterpoint to that would be a guy like Tyler Elliott. Have you worked with him much?
No, never worked with him.
If you get to watch him, he's super funny. Yeah. But when I say low energy, I'm still not even. It's not. It's whatever you're thinking is low energy. It's lower. It's lower. Like I remember he opened up for somebody at Plano House of Comedy. He was hosting that show.
Oh wow.
And he's like, "Thanks for coming out. I'm the host, and usually you're supposed to be like real high energy and show you guys we're going to be fun. This was a good choice to host." Like, it's like, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, but I mean, it's just sucking it down. But there's something so funny. It's still commanding.
Yes.
Even though it's
like Ali Sadiq is one person I really, really love. He's definitely in my top 5 now. And what I like about him is that he's, like you mentioned, you're bringing them to you. So you're making them match your energy. And so he literally sits down for most of his sets. He's
Yeah.
literally sitting down, and he's talking at the pace of a turtle, like
Yeah.
sometimes. And there's spaces where he's not saying a word and everything, but he's making people sit and appreciate the show, and they end up laughing, dying at whatever he's doing because he's building up suspense in that way.
Yeah.
And one thing I tried, and I've been successful with it 3 times, but I've only done it 3 times. So I'm I'm not
Yeah.
batting, but I'll say, I'm shooting, 100% from the arc. But where I haven't said a word.
Yeah.
I've gone out on the stage, didn't say a word, let my facial expressions kind of do it, and use my body and whatever. And it may be in response to something that's happening in the room. I remember. Are you familiar with the 51st Jokes show they do at Stomping Grounds every year?
I don't think so.
Yeah, they do it at the beginning of every year just to, these are the 51st jokes that are being said, your first joke of the year, that
So
kind
it's
of
like
thing.
a January 1st thing?
Yeah, almost.
Okay.
Yeah. It may be a couple days off.
Sure,
but,
sure.
But yeah, no, they'll do that. And literally walked out and put I still use like those mic covers.
Yeah.
Put the mic cover on. Whole room died. And mind you, you only have a minute. So they were laughing consecutively for 45 seconds. And I had to tell the people from the stage, I said, don't start my time. Please don't start my time. And then I was able to get my jokes off.
Yeah.
And then I did that in another show where the host, he was the host and producer. He chose everybody's walk-on music, and so he did.
That's fun.
Big Papa for me, of course, and I just had my face just turned up in some kind of way and I was like interacting with people and not saying a word. And it was another situation too where I got people laughing for a minute, and I haven't done anything yet.
Yeah.
And so it's in allowing the room to kind of match and come to me in that way. And so it feels really good doing that. It's super duper risky.
Yeah.
Because you have to understand yourself and really know how do you perform and and even just stepping out there and just doing it. See if it even works. And that's the thing. That fucking sucks about comedy. Like you have to just jump all the way out, like leap of faith every single time.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I love. I've always said I don't think I ever want to perform comedy. I think I was
going to ask you if you ever did it.
No, I signed up for One Kill Tony when they were in Fort Worth. Me and my friends were drinking, and we'd all been secretly working on a minute.
Okay.
And we were like, "Yeah, I'll sign up. You sign up." And like 4 out of the 6 of us signed up. And then the moment he comes out and there's a bucket and it's real, we're all like, why the fuck did we sign up? And it was still to this day that in terms of comedy shows, especially, like it was the most fun and exhilaration I had just being fearful of being called up, because instantly you knew like nothing I was thinking about is funny. It's not funny at all. Definitely not funny. I had some stuff about my dog. I got my dog at 4 months old, and so we've had him since he's a puppy. And early on, we thought he was racist towards black people. We couldn't figure it out, right? And then we narrowed it down to finally we narrowed it down. It was like, it's just certain guys, but we were just only noticing black guys, and we were like, oh my God. And so I thought I was going to get up there in 1 minute and talk about like racism and my dog, and it's like it would have just tanked hard, right? But just that little pull back of the curtain to give you that fear of like, shit, I might go up on stage and this is Fort Worth Hyenas. It's sold out. What is that, like 300 people in that room? It's a big room, and you're up there with somebody who's a legit professional comic and roaster.
Yes.
And then I like Jeremiah Watkins a lot. He was
he
was still part of the show then. So it's like,
Yes,
oh my
man.
God, there's these really high level comics up here right now.
Yeah.
Terrifying. So and I always loved that about his show, how he would, in the early days especially, like, he would never allow anyone to boo or anything, because he'd be like, if you got the balls to get up here and try this.
Yes.
And so after signing up, I really respected it more. Now, even when I listen to it, I'm like, even when someone's doing horrible, you're like, God, they still unless they're just an asshole, it's like, man, good luck. I want, and it gave me a whole new perspective on watching shows around here, right? Because early on, long before I ever thought about this podcast, someone would go up and not do well, and I would leave a show going, like, they fucking sucked. The one guy was good, but they sucked. And now it's like you're rooting for him. You're like, I want you to make me laugh. I'm like, I'll give you half a smile before you finish because I'm like, bring it home.
Right.
Let's do it.
Please. And you don't realize how long a minute is until you do it.
Yeah.
Until you do it. No, and you know what? Speaking of black people, I got to say, man, because we met before, but then this is actually like really my first time really getting to talk to you.
Yeah.
And I was like, now, ain't nobody tell me I would be doing an interview with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson or Bruno Mars, Jason Momoa. I don't
nice.
like. I got to say, you're the most racially ambiguous person.
Well, what would you guess?
In person, I don't know, man.
What would you guess if you had to?
Let's see. I don't know. It's tough. I don't know if you're gonna give me the people's elbow, if you're gonna sing 14 karat something, or you gonna Aquaman on me and teach me how to fish whisper.
Here's what we figured out. As far as I know, fully Caucasian.
Oh, for real?
Well,
no way. Dog, do you tan?
No. I mean, when I go out in the sun, I tan. Yeah.
You outside a lot?
Decent amount, not a crazy amount. Yeah, but no. So what I found out though on my mom's side, I think that's where the skin tones come from because I look a lot like my mom, same hair, same skin tone.
Okay.
And they came from north, like up around Vermont. And then what I think we found out is they were French Canadian before that, and I think French. So I think that's where like olive skin and stuff like that comes from. And then, but on my dad's side, it goes crazy. Like I can't remember if it's Irish or Scottish.
Oh, okay.
But our original name was McClatchy.
Oh, wow. Yeah. No, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. And when they came through New York, they were worried about their businesses failing and because everybody hated all the immigrants and all that. So they changed the name from McClatchy. And so it's this mixture of like Irish or Scottish or something. I can't remember. And then, French Canadian, I guess, or something. Like there's something mixed in there. I think some people in my family were hooking up back in the day, and people were being a little silent about it, And I think we got some stuff mixed in there. I haven't done one of the 23andMe, but I need to do one.
Yeah, I mean, I did it, it led to a bit that I ended up writing. So 75% African, which is like. Duh. We good. Like I knew that's not why I spent all this fucking money.
Duh.
Right? I need to know more than this. And so so it came back not even like a full 1% East Asian.
Okay.
But my mother's maiden name is Chin. So it's starting to make a little sense.
Okay.
I don't know. And then like a dash of Native American. Blackfoot. Shout out to my Cherokees out there too. But then clocking in, dog, at 24% European.
Really?
Dog. I am a quarter white.
There you go.
And it threw me all the way off.
Yep.
It did. And
That's
and I was when I was looking into it too, I am primarily British and Irish. And
I mean,
I don't know. I think I came from the Black O'Malley family or something. I don't know.
What's funny is only, what'd you say, 1% Cherokee?
Yeah, barely.
And you're like, Cherokee.
Right. Those are my people. Because I was one of those people that was trying to, because, depending on what tribe you're from and your percentage, whatever, you can go to school for free.
Right.
And so, I was definitely one of them people. I'm trying to find out. Please let me know I can go to school for free.
Yeah. That's too funny. Man, the ancestry thing is funny, right? Because really, we're only tracing it back to a certain point.
Right.
But it all goes back further.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name. I got to look it up. But there's one tribe in Africa that still exists.
Yep.
Very small tribe. And everyone's ancestry links back to them.
Yes.
To that one tribe.
Crazy.
And when you look at them, it's like you see everyone's features, right? You see Caucasian European, you see like Mongolian, you see African, you see everything. And you're like, oh my God, that's the mix. That's all of us, know? And there's still like a small, spear tribe.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
And that's what you realize. It's
iPhones.
Like, oh yeah, we were all there. And so it's like when people are like, I'm Irish, it's like, listen, if you go all the way back, you're all African. And guess what? Africa wasn't even Africa then.
No.
That's how far back we need. And
it was Pangea.
Yeah. Right. And it's interesting. I thought by now, like when I was a kid, it was still very controversial. Like I think Cheerios or somebody put like a mixed race couple, and people were like, "I'm boycotting Cheerios," right? And I remember, thinking like, oh, 20, 30 years, we'll all just be like a light brown, we'll all kind of, and we're still not there yet, and you're like, I don't think it works like that. Again, I took a lot of remedial college courses, so I don't think that's how it works.
And while we still have so many people that are crunchy black like Bernie Mac, it's going to take a while to lighten up that skin tone.
Well, and you talk about like my racial ambiguity, like my son came out pale skin redhead.
No way. Wait, and so is your wife redhead?
Wife is blonde.
What's happening?
The doctors told us that blonde has the recessive gene for red. And I told that to somebody the other day, and they were like, "No, you both have to have." I was like, "I don't know, man. I'm going by what I think I remembered." Like my wife pushed the baby out. He's a redhead. We're both a little like, where did redhead? Because we thought for sure like he's coming out looking like me.
Yeah,
because these are dominant features,
right.
And
yeah,
and the doctor's like, no, blondes. So I was like, all right. I didn't look it up. I was just like, that's what the doctor said.
I'll be honest with you. You responded way better than my dad did. I came out.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry. You came out as a redhead?
No. Close. Blonde.
Oh, yeah.
No joke. Blonde hair on my head. All wherever there was hair, it was blonde. And literally looked at my mom and said, "Is this something you want to tell me?"
Now, I'm going to say something that sounds crazy, but this is science. This is real.
Okay.
Because I know people that worked in labor and delivery for a long time. Did you come out white at first?
Oh, for sure. We all light skin like that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, for
but
sure.
that's something that doesn't get told a lot is that like black babies will come out white.
For sure.
So, but that leads to a lot of people in delivery rooms being like, what the hell?
Who's this baby?
What is going? And the people have to be like, no. So where did blonde hair come from? I've never heard of that.
My mom. So my mom, she been lying to me for years, dog. And I didn't.
Is your mom white or black?
So my mom is black.
Okay.
But she has, she has very light brown hair.
Okay.
But has been dyeing her hair black for the longest. And because of that, so the blonde was kind of over time, it would end up turning into a light brown.
Right.
And whatever. And, and actually come to find out, it did end up getting dark black.
Yeah.
And everything, but that's where it came from. Actually, my sister has light brown hair.
Yeah.
And she just.
So you came out with light skin and blonde hair, and your dad's like, "You got some answers I need right now."
I think he was jealous. I was fucking gorgeous.
How did you ever ask your dad about like? Did it take like a week for him to like believe your mom and like trust or was he like, oh, okay, that makes sense? Or was he like, they said this, but I don't know.
Hey, you know what? I think there was a lot going on where he was like, let's maybe do a test. Let's figure this out.
Yeah.
But I even think because going back to your point where you say, all these kids are coming out light skin, light hair, whatever. You end up just looking at features.
Yeah.
I look just like my dad.
Yeah.
And so, and it took a while because I thought I was going to grow up to look just like him, but made that transition to where I started looking more like my mom.
Yeah, I've heard that that is an evolutionary thing to make sure dads don't kill babies or like run off to be like, it is yours.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. It's
yes. And I don't blame him, man. I don't blame him because I was waiting when my son came out. I definitely was like, let me see.
Yeah.
And
Were you in the delivery room for both?
100%.
Dude, somebody asked me, they were like, were you in there? And I was like, I'm a man.
Yeah.
Of course I was in there. Dude. I was
in there.
holding a fucking leg.
Right.
Yes. And I
cut the cord?
Cut the cord.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And, I didn't have one of those, like it wasn't like this beautiful moment, like it was really intense.
Yeah.
And then also like as the dad, like you feel totally useless. You're like, I'm holding a leg, but I'm really not contributing.
I wasn't even holding a leg. I'm being honest with you. I was up here. I had both of my hands on one hand.
Oh, so you were up top?
Yeah, so I was up top and holding there. But yeah, man, I don't know how smooth it went for y'all in the delivery room. It didn't go that smooth with my boy.
And the boy's the second
one.
child. Okay.
And so in labor for 19 hours.
Wow.
Took forever to get him to move down. Had they bust out the peanut size, or shaped, pillow where she's switching and
that's the other thing
angles.
nobody prepared me for is they have all these positions and moves that they put women in, and you're like, why is she in this position? On all the movies I've seen, she's just on her back, she screams, baby comes out. Why is she on all fours right now?
And some are pushing for like the longest, right?
Yeah.
Not with my boy. He was ready at 19 hours. And they did, I don't know if they did this, but I've never heard this. It was never in any of the movies I ever seen. They did a practice push.
Okay.
Never heard of a practice push. Practice push, this boy's head was out.
Oh, wow.
Practice push was just to make sure my wife knew what to do. But nothing was ready. Nothing in the room. So they didn't have anything set up, ready to go or nothing like that.
So he went straight to the floor.
So, almost, right? No, have literally about right here was out. And the nurse was like, no, pull back in.
Pull back in?
I don't think that's how that
works. We've been working on this for 19 hours. What do you mean pull back in? This is coming out. Put your hands down there. Pull back in.
You can't reverse the conveyor belt. Like this, it's not how it works.
She's just pushing. She's like, not yet.
So literally, my wife, it was only for a minute that she had to hold, try to hold him in that spot. But they didn't actually have her real doctor who she had been seeing to come deliver
because
the
it's
baby.
just the nurses in there until we're ready to go.
So it was they had to go grab nurses, had to get like this general, surgeon or whatever to come in there. He couldn't even get his whole garb on. My son was ready to come on out. And so my wife was pushing. If we didn't have that little pause and everything, she would have been pushed for only a minute.
Wow.
Only a minute.
That's nuts that it was 19 hours, then boom, let's go.
Then boom.
Yeah.
But that's my son. That's what bothers me about that boy.
Was how long was the daughter in labor?
She was 9 minutes.
Because the second one's supposed to be faster.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was. It was. I mean, because sorry, my bad. For the labor itself, for my wife, I think it was around the same amount of time. It was like maybe like 20 something hours and everything getting prepped.
Yeah.
But then the whole pushing was 9 minutes for my daughter.
Okay.
And literally a few seconds for my boy.
Yeah, it's it's like I almost feel like even if you don't want to have kids, you should have to go through that.
You have to.
Just to see what it's like. It's weird because it wasn't one of those like it was the most beautiful moment. It wasn't horrible, but it is altering. Like you view the world differently when you're like, fuck, she had a person in there. You know what I felt? I felt so stupid because you're noticing a common theme. I feel stupid a lot, but without being too graphic, there comes a moment where you're looking at the show. Oh, yeah. You're looking at the baby's coming. You got a front row seat, and his head's going to be the first thing that's coming out. And so you're thinking like, I got to see my baby's head coming into the world, right? And I remember thinking like, that's a tiny little head. Like that looks like a little monkey head or something. Yeah. And I was like, is this?
Yeah.
Like we did all the tests. I was like, he's normal. And then when she pushes, I realize I'm only seeing like a portion of the head. And then the head starts coming. I'm like, oh God, no, it's a normal head. It's a fucking huge head. Oh Jesus, that's coming out of there? Oh my God.
And you see,
oh my God.
And you see my head. And my wife, it didn't take a lot of convincing to get her to get pregnant. It was just a thing because she wanted to get pregnant.
Yeah.
It was that we had to have that conversation of what's going to happen if we do this.
Like you have to go through something.
Yes. And surprisingly, he slipped out like
That's
that.
Awesome.
And I was like, wow, hey, you lucked out. And she wants to run it back. She wants to have a third one.
No way.
And I'm like, nah, I can't do it.
You're putting your foot down on it?
I'm putting my foot down on it just because the second one was super rough. Super rough. We had to do like the iron infusions, and she was having some deficiencies and things like that. And it really was just took a toll on her. But I told her, we obviously can go with the option of adoption.
Sure.
I didn't mean to make that rhyme. But we could do that. And so I've had this long time dream, Travis, of adopting a white baby. And we're going to name him Deshaun. And it's going to be the best kid ever. We're gonna raise him. We doing Angelina Jolie, but we're in reverse.
Yeah. And it's about time. It's about time we do this, right?
Why hasn't it been done?
Yeah.
And so we're gonna have Deshaun. Deshaun is gonna be brilliant. But I'm really selective on what kind of baby I want. I want
run me down the stats.
Like the Slavic Russian type, like the big white baby. Yeah. I want that.
Yeah.
I want to have Ivan Drago as my son.
Yeah.
And
he comes out and like with the umbilical cord, he's doing that rope thing that they do in gyms. He's like, I'm already working.
Or he pulls his own knife out, cuts the shit. Like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
And that's what I want. I want a good white baby.
Okay.
And I think it's going to be phenomenal.
Dude, this is achievable. Russia has always had a little bit of hard times. There's definitely some poor people who they're like, I can't take care of this baby.
Yep.
I think you can make this happen, man.
And I think it can happen easily because my middle name is Ivan. And
Oh,
they're
yeah.
going to be like, are you from around? Yes.
Well, and you got the report. You can go over there and be like, guys, I'm a quarter European.
You see this.
Come on, man.
They're like, okay, take the baby.
Let's do
And you convinced us. We don't need anything
Dude,
else.
you're gonna mess up, and then all of a sudden, you're gonna be part of the Russian mob. You know, you're gonna find out the kid you adopted was the son of like one of the mob guys in Russia.
Yes.
Like, you know, banged a stripper, and there was a baby, and he's like, I send the baby away, and then. But then, like, years later, he's like, I need the baby back. You know, I need my bloodline to continue. And now you're part of this thing.
It's going to be fucking rough. Because the
awesome,
thing
man.
is, it could be one of two ways this goes down. It's either that we are all kept in the loop while we're raising little Deshaun.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, he's giving money, you know, and he's sending us all this extra stuff. Even puts us in a nice house. That'd be great.
I dig it.
Or he's not saying a word and waits till he's like 18. And then he pops in trying to take the boy. And at that point, you know, he's an adult. You know, he can choose what he wants to.
Sure.
But it's going to be like this fight. And like you said, Russian mob, I'm not stupid. And have him, take him. Okay, we'll write him. You know?
I think you join up with them.
With the Russian mob?
Yeah, but have you seen some of their tattoos? They look pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I'm not even a tattoo guy, but I look at those, I'm like, man, those... They only give those if you did a thing. So that's a bad dude.
And I don't have any tattoos either, but I need something to have like a meaning behind it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No, that would be dope. But yeah, maybe they make me work for them, or, you know, or maybe because of how well I did with Deshaun.
Sure.
They're like, okay, you're going to now have to raise all of our Russian mob babies. And
now you're just raising kids.
that's fine.
I like it. Dude, that's a good steady stream of income.
Very steady.
They're going to pay cash. It's going to be under the table.
Yes, fund my comedy tour. You know, put me in places where I shouldn't be yet because I don't have the material.
And think of like the security you would have at your comedy shows, right? There's always going to be some dudes, black shirt, black jacket, just posted up at the doors.
On stage with me.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's going to be on this, like if we're looking at Plano House of Comedy.
Yeah.
One on each side of that screen.
Right by the stairs.
Yeah, then another set right by the stairs.
Dude, I like it, man.
Yeah.
Have you have you looked into the Russian baby market? Like what's out there?
I would like to look into it. It's just that my wife keeps deterring me.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, sometimes they get in the way.
She's getting hung up on like, I want it to be my genetics.
Yeah, that's the thing. And it's like that's boring.
Women, man. Women.
That's boring.
Yeah.
I want to be able to tailor my search like I can on Amazon. I want to be able to do that for the baby.
Dude, it is weird. Have you ever seen the video of the white guy that got adopted by Chinese people? No. There's a video out there. He's like a teenage white kid, and he was raised in China.
Oh, okay.
So he speaks, you know, Mandarin, and I guess he's attempting to speak English. So he just sounds like a super racist white guy making fun of Chinese people.
Oh, no.
Right? Because he's got the Chinese accent, and then they're just, it's like, Jesus. And then you find out his background, and you're like, oh, no, that's, just work on that English, man. You got to, because somebody's going to kick your ass. Dude, don't mess up.
Just don't. I would have told him, just don't do it. Just
don't
leave
do
it where it is.
Or leave a placard around your thing that says, like, the English is genuinely my second language. I'm so sorry.
That, you know what? And that is, I don't know. It seems like when you got, like in that situation, you would want people to be able to have those kind of experiences, right? Where they're able to experience a whole different culture, learn all these different things. You know, of course, you got the downsides of, you know, certain accents and, you know, and it sounds ridiculous coming out of this package, but, you know, but being able to do something like that, being able to live somewhere, that would be just completely different from what your situation would have been, you know, that's dope. I tried to move out of the country.
Where did you try to go?
I tried to go so I met this girl in college. Older woman. She was nice. She was like, you know, I'm from Victoria, British Columbia.
Ooh.
And I was like, where is that? And she
You're
said,
like, I'm in remedial math right now.
Exactly.
Can you break this down?
Just a little slower, please. And so I'm thinking she's talking about close to the Caribbean. She's like, no, other way.
Yeah.
And it's up there in Canada. And so I'm like, okay, all right. I might do it. And was thinking about going into teaching at the time. And so she's like, out there, it's phenomenal. The weather's like, I think she said like Alabama, similar to Alabama in the summer and whatever. I'm like, well, Alabama's hot as shit. You know? And,
you're like, Alabama's hot. They don't like me there. I don't know.
And then I go to Victoria, British Columbia. They ain't gonna like my ass either, But no, I tried to do that. I have been out of the country twice. First time was to Italy. And that was on the school's dime. Shout out again to Wabash College. I paid none of that. And yeah, that was dope, but that was only a week. And then similar situation to St. Lucia, I actually got to perform out there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, man. That was my first time performing internationally, which was cool. It was cool. It was definitely different. And I was so nervous about it.
How'd you get hooked up with a show out there?
Oh, no, it was because so my cousin was getting married out there. And so he was getting married out there. I was out there, and he's like, just one thing led to another for real. And that's exactly what happened. And they were loving it. I was really surprised by it. Like,
what do you keep doing this thing where you're like, bada bing, bada boom. I was performing. What do you mean one thing led to another? Who did you ask about, like, or who asked you to perform?
Oh, so it was a thing of that they were having. Of course, they already had their wedding. They had the reception going, but then they were also looking to do something else, kind of like add like a show element to it.
Oh, okay.
And so, so it ended up being they invited the people that were all around at the resort, and so it ended up being really dope. Ended up being really dope, being able to perform in that sense. It was just so nervous about, I knew it was going to be the connection with my family.
Yeah.
They would get it, but was worried about everybody else that was there.
Yeah.
And, but you also had other English speakers, other Americans that were there from other parts, but then you had people who were actually St. Lucian, folks, and they was loving it too. And so it was like, okay, now that's dope. That's fire. So,
and plus, there's alcohol everywhere. That, come on. And if you're going to St. Lucia, you're looking to have a good time.
This bar was open.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
How much do you travel right now with comedy?
So I am, not to the point where it's consistent, but I do have stuff coming up next month in OKC, and in 2 other parts of Oklahoma. Got that stuff coming up. Been applying to, festivals and things like that. Waiting to see what happens there with those. Hoping to get into this one festival. It's called Middle Ground.
Okay.
And it's in Indianapolis, and so my hometown. So didn't even think that was a thing, that they even had festivals out there, and this is their first one.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so hoping to get on the lineup there because that's what most of my Facebook following is people from Indianapolis and people who have seen clips but never seen me.
Oh, that's going to be so much fun if you get to. Well, do they have any clubs up there? They got to have clubs up there.
Oh, yeah. Right? Yeah, they got a few. They got a few clubs up there that I plan to send my stuff to.
Yeah.
It's just I want to make sure that I'm good and ready to go. So when I do get out there, I can show out. But I got 10, 15 minutes, and I don't think they're going to give me any more than those. And so I don't think they're going to bring me out there like, oh, yeah, half hour. Like, no, nothing like that.
How much longer do you think it'll take you to be at a point where you're happy with the half hour that you have?
I was literally thinking about that the other day because that's my first goal.
Writing fascinates me.
Yeah.
Because it's so unique per person. And then, it's such an art form of, first of all, you have to come up with these ideas, but second, weaving them into a set that makes some sense. Yeah. It's really fascinating. I love watching you guys at open mics and then watching you, a year later at like an MC spot or a feature spot and go, oh, that's what they did. That's how they trashed that. And then they brought this in. Oh, okay. And like, you really appreciate like, God, it's so hard to write a joke. Yeah. A joke is hard to write. What? Yeah.
Yeah, and it takes a minute to figure out what's funny for you.
Yeah.
And then once you do figure out what people like to see from you, it does make it easier when you do talk about certain things. But I think what also happens as well, or at least this is my philosophy on it, even knowing that you figure out what's funny for you, I think people get more invested on not necessarily what you're talking about, but how you say it. And they like you more for your personality and your perspective on how you deliver it all. And so, but I think it just depends on, or I think that's then a next step where people are wondering what exactly you're going to talk about, which, that's when you get into Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle level shit, where you can do a first live thing on Netflix, and people are tuning in to see what you got to say about the Will Smith shit, and and all of that. And so, but it takes a minute. But no, that's definitely, I've done a half hour before, and it was fire, and I wouldn't change anything about it. It definitely, I ain't gonna say it was in front of everybody. It was. I would say probably maybe 25 folks. And I had a live band and everything was dope to play off with one of my jokes.
Yeah.
So that was dope. And yeah, it was good. It was good. It was a great feeling. And then but that's been kind of where I'm at right now, is that I know I can do 10, 15, 20, no problem there. I can do that, but I want that to be my real first step, or at least somebody asked me this. They said, what do you think would take, or what would have to happen for you to say you're a comedian? Because I don't necessarily say I am a comedian just yet, because one, I ain't getting paid like one.
Okay.
Or maybe I am getting paid like one. A lot of us are broke. Maybe that is.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation about the comedy pay rate.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, it's broke millionaire.
This is big ass joke.
Yeah, there's nothing in between.
But yeah, no, I think what would really take two things that would have to happen is, one, I am being paid enough to be able to take care of my family with it. And two, that I have a solid half hour. So that means not just from other people's perspective, but for me. Yeah. Because, we're all our worst critics. So I'm going to be harping on certain things and going to be pointing out things that nobody else notices. Comics, we do this all the time, where somebody will tell us, great set, but we'll be quick to say what went wrong instead of saying thank you. And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've never met one of y'all who's been happy with what you do. Yeah. I was like, that was great, man. And they're like, I don't know.
Right. Because we either focusing on the one part where we maybe messed up a word, which happens. I mean, if you up there talking for 20 minutes, you're going to fuck up a word. It's going to happen. And
well, even with this podcast, excuse me, if I listen back to any of these, you realize how much you hate how you talk. Not even the sound of your voice, but you realize, like, oh, I say this a lot, or I say that too much.
Right.
Or, oh, God, this is how I do this. And this is just on the fly. So now you're talking about trying to do prepared material.
Yeah.
And then you're thinking, like, why the fuck did I say that? I don't say that. That's stupid.
Yes.
Yeah.
And getting caught up on that, the whole words you may use or what you may slip up on. But then we also tend to focus in on that one person.
Oh, yeah.
Who was not enjoying the show. Everybody else could have been dying, literally peed on themselves. There could have been a whole fountain of pee inside that room, but you focus on the one guy who did not pee.
Yeah.
And that's just the twisted shit about it. But that's what makes me laugh at myself. I do a lot of laughing at myself on certain things, and I think it takes a minute to get there, where you're able to not take yourself so serious. Yeah. Even when you want this so bad, you have to be able to step back and say, that's really not that big of a deal. Or, yeah, it sucks that, you was up there 15 minutes and God just didn't want to laugh at you. All right, that's fine. But let's look at the entire room of people that were there who were having a great time with you, who were interacting with you, and you can't please everybody.
Well, and you also forget, there are those people who will sit there stone-faced.
Yeah.
And they're having a great time. You know what I mean?
I've had that where a dude
you forget
came up
that,
to me
but that exists. Where,
yes.
I mean, we've had some people, we have some friends where it's like the husbands of my wife's friends, right? And there's a couple of them that are very stiff. They're they're super nice, super cool, love hanging out with them. Yeah. But you look over and you're like, are you having a bad time? And they're like, I'm having a great time. I'm like, are you fucking with me? And they're like, no, I'm having a good time. This is, thank you for inviting me.
I would do it again.
Okay. All right. And then, it's like my wife will be like, oh, so-and-so said that they loved the other night, that they had a great time. Can't wait to do it again. I'm like, all right. I thought they were going to kill themselves, but okay. And so I think some people go to comedy shows like that and they're having a blast. And they're going to go to work Monday and go, I went to a comedy show and it was so funny.
Right.
It was really great.
And we'll go and repeat some of the jokes that they heard.
And then their coworkers are going to be like, Ron goes to comedy shows?
Right.
He looks miserable.
I thought this guy just goes home and hangs upside down in a coffin. Yeah,
and so I think there's more of that. Mm-hmm. And also I think we're so used to watching stuff on screens now.
Yeah.
That when new people go to comedy shows, I don't think a lot of people know what it's like to just gut bust laugh anymore because you don't do that scrolling through your phone as much.
No.
Right? And if you're watching a special at home, it's pretty rare that you're just audibly laughing by yourself.
Yeah.
Right? That's just something, but when you're around other people, you really want to laugh. But I think those people have a more difficult time turning it on, or they just don't do it, period.
Right.
Because it's interesting. Or like, I'll sit next to people in the crowd, and it'll be somebody sitting there with their arms crossed, and they'll lean over to somebody else and be like, that was funny. And that's their version of a laugh.
Yes, that is my mother. And I can't stand it, okay?
Yeah.
Because first off, when I got into comedy, my first goal was to make my dad laugh. I remember growing up and my dad not laughing at me, not thinking I was funny. And it wasn't that I was doing jokes and trying to make him laugh.
Yeah.
I just wanted him to think I was funny because everybody else thought I was, but he didn't. And one of the most rewarding things was seeing him at a show. Was one of the Red Room shows at Hyenas, and seeing him just dying in his chair to my material.
That's awesome.
And I was like, okay, I did it. So I accomplished that goal. But then, yes, there's my mother who she gets so hung up on little words, and you can say fuck, and she's just like,
I didn't like that one.
Right. She's always turned up. I remember one time.
Can't you just do it without saying fuck?
Right.
I feel like you could just, you have a college degree.
Yes.
You could articulate something better.
Yes. Yes. I remember one time, same club, Hyenas, but in the big room, I did a joke about eating ass, and that there's only
God,
and that there's only two.
Your mom and dad were there
for
that one. Oh man, I could never.
Man. Yeah, man. Because it's full sale at that point.
Yeah.
It was just a joke about, for men, there's no manly way to get your ass ate, and there's only two ways it can happen.
Yeah.
And so I'm going through this whole demonstration. One point I'm bent over, other time my legs is up over my head, and and I see my mom out of the corner of my eye, and while I'm still performing, I see her leaving and walking out, and I said, no. Yeah. So, but you know what? That because one thing that we do when we first start out, we invite everybody. So we invite family, we invite friends, and everything, and then they realize, oh, so you don't just do this one time and then become famous. Yeah. No. I have to keep doing this shit for years.
Oh, you're going to struggle.
Right.
Do you need a few dollars?
Right. And you have to keep doing it. And so, but after a while, you keep inviting these same people. And then here come the excuses. Then here come, it's kind of the same stuff I've seen already. But you go through that period where you get hurt.
Yeah.
Where you're like, man, folks don't really support me. But you have to remember too, it's not just about them supporting you. They was going to support you anyway. You want people who you got to make support you. And so you want to go out and do different rooms, tell comics all the time, do not do the same rooms all the time. It's nice to hit the same open mic. It's nice because you make friends, you got buddies there and whatever, but there needs to be new people hearing your material. One thing that I love to do, especially if I bomb, like this last Monday was the first time I bombed in a long time. So bad. Still got laughs, but to me it was a bomb because it was completely new jokes, completely new set, and some things hit, but no, it wasn't. And so, but what I did, it wasn't Monday, it was Wednesday. But what I did right after that, went to DCC, Dallas Comedy Club, and did my surefire material that I know works. Went over there, did that, killed it. Yeah. And so it's nice. That's one thing I like to do is if I'm down bad, had a bad set, go and do a set somewhere else.
Knock it out.
Somewhere new where people may not know me or whatever, and kill it. And then that helps kind of bring it back up. Like, okay, you're funny. You're still funny. It's just, you got to work on that material still, though.
Yeah.
Even though it didn't work, you still got to work on it. But I've noticed too when I do that, I get more shows from doing it. When I especially go to new places where they haven't seen me before.
Right.
And so you have to venture out. You have to do new experiences because it's going to help you, one, get in front of different types of crowds. so you can see how that material works. But then also too, you get that feeling of, or you can get the opportunities that can come from it, new shows and stuff like that. But you also, get the opportunity to be in just different places.
Yeah.
And that's I may have said that twice, but anyway.
Yeah, no, but it's important, right? Because these crowds are different everywhere you go.
Everywhere.
Even me just sitting in the audience, I've seen a lot of these comics now in multiple different rooms, multiple different towns. And it's like a joke will come up. I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, oh, this is going to kill. And then they get a different response. And you're like, why didn't that
What the hell happened?
Yeah. And you start realizing, like, again, comedy, like you were saying earlier, between, science and art, it's like, there is no absolute with this comedy thing. It's like, and even the greats, Chris Rock, when he's working on that new material, was not getting laughs at some spots. He probably had a couple things he threw out there to keep the momentum up, but he's working on that material. And sorry,
I didn't mean to cut you off.
Go ahead.
Do you ever watch the crowds during these specials?
Oh, I love it.
So what I love about it is, one, that that you see, it kind of gives me some comfort when you get up there, because as you get up in your career, that editors are looking out for you. So they're going to put in certain clips and make it seem like people was dying, all over the place, whatever. And it may have been to a completely different part of the set, but they'll put it in.
They hook you up. They hook you up.
They hook you up.
Well, and like my background is in audio engineering.
Okay, yeah.
And I've been learning some of this film stuff, and I want to record. Long term, I would love to help comics put out video specials. People who can't afford it and find ways to do it. Either
let me know, Doug.
More affordably. Well, you don't want me yet. I'm not that good. But I've already come, in situations where, what's that fine line of editing so that it's good for a listener, but it's true to the act.
Yes.
Right? Because I would never drop any names, but there was someone who had us record some audio, and the show was not going well. And it's somebody who is funny, but it wasn't going well that time.
Okay.
And, we sent them the recording. It's like, they're not going to like this. There's not a lot of laughs on this, And they were like, just throw some laughs on there. And it's like,
doesn't necessarily work like that.
First of all, it genuinely wouldn't sound that great.
No,
but second of all, it's like, maybe just redo this sometime and get some laughs. Because this particular person, they didn't pay for it; it was free.
Okay,
we were just hooking them up, trying something else. So it's like, this is not. It's like you immediately felt gross. You feel like that was my first brush of thinking, like, no, man, like comedy. It's like a sacred thing. Like, you got to earn the laugh.
Got to.
You got to earn the laugh. I can't give you the fake laugh. Now, if they were laughing crazy hard and it just didn't come through on the recording, all right, we'll bump it up. Because I was there. I know you killed it, right? Sure, that's fine. But we're not going to, like, if you didn't get the laugh. And that's on the specials. It's like, you didn't need to cut to that person who was leaning back and slapping their knee. It's like, it's already funny, all right?
Yes.
But they do that.
But they do that. But even then, I noticed too, with some of these people who are up there, upper echelon people I look up to, you'll still see some of their specials where you'll have people, you'll get clips of the actual crowd, and you'll see people in there, not just a few, but there'll be some people who are not laughing.
Yeah.
And there'll be a vast majority of them may not be laughing. And it's like, hold on. This is somebody who's a legend to me.
Yeah.
How dare they not be laughing? And even then, with the joke, I'm in my living room cracking up.
Yeah.
But I get it, or at least what that shows me is that, again, you cannot please everybody. You got to please the right people to get off to, get your career to go where it's going.
Yeah.
And keep your integrity. Don't please everybody, but,
well, and you start to realize too, unless you're on the level of Dave Chappelle, Chris Rock, Joe Rogan, that, everybody who we really love that you think, like, I love Bill Burr, right?
Yeah.
He is not a household name.
Nope.
Right? There are still people where you're like, oh my gosh, Bill Burr's coming to town. They're like, who's Bill Burr? And so a lot of these people are probably still getting, like, oh, I got tickets to go watch Bill Burr. Do you want to come with me? And it's somebody who has no idea. And they get there and they're like, I just don't think he's that funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, and that's got to be so brutal. It's like, it's never ending. It's like, this guy's going to go down as one of the greats. And there are still people who don't know him, don't care. And they leave going like, it was okay.
Yeah. Cause you have to cross over into a whole nother realm, which is television or movies. You have to do it to where people are seeing you consistently. Dave Chappelle's going to be legend because he had his own show and has been in numerous movies.
Yeah.
Same for Chris. Joe he had Fear Factor.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, watching Fear Factor as a kid, did not know that Joe Rogan was a comedian.
Absolutely not.
Did not know he was a comedian.
He just looked like a host. He just looked like a dude.
Yeah.
You just, or like they got some guy who looked kind of 90s looking to
and
be.
he wasn't even funny like that on the show. Like
Nope.
he would like
he didn't
make
tell jokes.
quick little things. But what I liked about him most is how he would get in people's ass whenever they was like, when it would come up
Yeah.
to a certain challenge and they're like punking out on it. He's like, come on, man.
Come on, man. It's $50,000.
Yes, right.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he get really intense.
Yeah.
That's what I liked about him. But when I found out he was a comic, I was like, is he just starting? Is he just doing this
Yeah.
thing now? Because Fear Factor's over? Or like, what's going on?
It's very strange. His whole path is very strange. It's really,
Yeah.
well, and his whole path really is kind of what you were talking about in terms of comics just doing other clubs.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you just need to get out and do shit. Just do stuff.
Yes.
Because that guy clearly just did random things and he's doing all right now.
Yes.
And there's something to be said about it. It's like, that place you're thinking about performing at, it might suck, but you're not going to know until you go do it.
Yep.
And it's like even on the losses, right? You learn so much out of those bombs, out of those terrible clubs. Just learning like, I never want to perform at a thing like this again. How do I get out of this, right?
Because you mentioned two very important things. First off, that as a comic, you have to experience life. You cannot talk about it if you don't experience it. It's nice to be able to say, I watched this documentary or I watched this episode or I watched somebody talk about it. I don't want to sit here and watch somebody talk about it. It's either I go do my own research on it or I experience it. And so you have to have that experience. And it holds true when you definitely see comics like Kevin Hart who get up there and tell story after story after story. I had one guy, Trey Mack, right? Trey Mack, fucking phenomenal comic, will be one of the legends going down, and it won't take long for him to get there. Even though he's been doing this thing for 10 years, he's still going to be somebody who takes off and becomes a household name. I was talking to him last week or a couple weeks ago, and he said to me, man, I'm running out of material. I don't really have much to write about. This is somebody who was on Carnival Cruises, who performs multiple shows on Carnival Cruises, and literally told him, dog, you have to get out there and you have to live life. Do stuff that's completely different than what you normally do. And he's, he was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. Because usually I just sit in my room, sit in the house and whatever. And I'm like, no, you have to. But then you brought up another point too about doing those rooms that you are not used to. And, you hope that it's going to go well. Because for me, I don't know why it's my Achilles heel. But older black people do not like me. They do not. In regular conversation, phenomenal.
Yeah.
Because, for me and just my personality and what I want to do in my career, I want to be the next Steve Harvey. I want to be able to be somebody who's so versatile and it's just a personality. Comedy is going to be my way of getting there, but I want to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
And so, but they do not. They do not like some of my material.
Is it from the jump or is there a turning point?
Black crowds are already tough.
Yeah.
Black crowds are tough if you're black. I'll put it to you like
okay, but what do you think it is about older black people?
Older black people, they just don't like jokes about, because I do make a lot of references and a lot of jokes that can be deemed inappropriate, like the eating ass joke. Done it in front of black crowds before, but it was young black people in there, so it hit well. But some of the older folks kind of get turned off on that.
Do you think like an older black guy sees you in pink Crocs and is immediately like, not this one?
No, I don't wear these too.
Oh, you don't? Okay. But you know what I mean? Because like you were saying, like, you'll wear the fun shirts and stuff.
Yeah, right.
Do you think something like that is immediately turning them off?
I think so.
Because it's like the old school. They're like, I would never wear that bullshit.
I think so. And, it might be, excuse me, it might be that from jump.
Yeah.
It might be that. But I think too, it's a mental block for me. I used to have that same mental block about doing clean material. And then I started doing it and it was perfectly fine. And so it was a thing of, you don't have to do all of this. You don't have to talk about these very raunchy or use raunchy verbiage in order to get a joke across. You don't have to do that. It's about you being funny and make sure you deliver a funny joke. And so, but I used to have the same mental block. And so that worked fine. But what growing up black and growing up around black people, everything that we feel is right here. And I'm somebody who likes to look at the crowd when I'm performing. And when I see disappointment, I tell you, it instantly gets me. Like it's
interesting.
It's something I have to work through. It's something I got to get over, and everything. But instantly, as soon as I see that disappointment, that reminds me of my dad, my mom, my older, aunties, uncles, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so that immediately gets right to me because I know what that look means. Boy, stop. And that's enough. That kind of thing.
But you seem like you're charismatic enough that you could see that person in the crowd and immediately talk to them about it.
Oh yeah,
Have you gone that route before?
I've worked my way up to it. Like, so I used
like
to,
when you see him with that face, just being like, I know you're over there disapproving right now, or have you talked to anyone who's given you that look yet? Or
not to the like the guy I mentioned with the 4 teeth and 2 was in his pocket. I did that to him. At those bar mics that I used to do, used to be, quote unquote, black bars. And so it used to be nothing but black people in there. But I'm roasting every single person in there. I told this one guy, he came in there with ashy feet and sandals on. I told him, your feet look like we could feed them 50 cents a day. And so I can do that in that environment, but I don't know what the switch needs to be to do that in any other place. And I think what it is, it's the thing of you have to put yourself in those positions over and over and over again to learn what works best for you in this situation. I hate to separate it and make it seem like it's, by the races, it's going to change the room.
No, that's what that is that's your chemistry degree. That's you having to, like, I need to categorize. We put these here, we can mix like this, and then that'll be perfect.
But I do great in front, like I'm what I want it to be, because, for all comics who are popular, they have rooms. They have people that curate the room for them, and so certain crowds or they appeal to a certain crowd. And I want my appeal to be anybody, and I want it to be able to be a mixed room. Yeah. And I do phenomenal in mixed rooms, and so it's the thing of doing that same thing, having that same push to do my same material in front of a full black crowd or of older folks.
You know what it is with the older folks? What I'm hearing is they just make you revert back to childhood.
Right back.
So you don't have it. It's like it sucks your confidence. You're the little kid. And so you just have to figure out how to, just be like, I'm a man. Damn it, I'm a man.
And that's what I got to do.
I mean, some of those things just throw you back to childhood.
Yeah.
And you're like, my wife is the only person who can make me feel so insecure. You know what I mean? And it's like some of the ways she can make me feel insecure without even trying.
Yeah.
It's like nobody else would ever bother me if they said something like that, right? Like if you were like, hey man, you need to lose some fucking weight, I'd be like, fuck you.
Yeah. Simple as that.
But if she's like, do you think you need to go up a size in that shirt? I'm like, what does that mean? Like,
you didn't mean that, right? You was just playing, right?
Just fucking, let's leave right now. I am not shopping for a shirt today.
Never again.
Yeah,
no,
and
I'm with you 100%.
That's what it is, man. You see that, and you see your family disappointed.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
man.
it's what's going to be funny is when you bump into one of those older people that you think are being that way, and then after the show, they're like, "That was really funny."
Yes, no, that happened to me on I mentioned Wednesday. I bombed first mic, did really well the next one. And it was an older guy came up to me and he said, he came up to me immediately with his Instagram pulled up on his phone and said, what's your Instagram?
Hell yeah.
And that felt great because, like I said, he being somebody who I think doesn't deem me funny, did the complete opposite. And so it's really, like I said, it's a mental block. It's the confidence to do it because I revert back definitely to little TJ, like definitely
little
when
TJ.
When I see like certain responses, certain reactions to it. But that's one of those things, I say it over and over. It's just something I got to keep exposing myself to till I'm laughing at the fact that I thought that was a thing.
It's just little TJ trying to make his dad laugh.
Right, exactly.
And he can't do it. He can't do it.
Is this therapy? Do I owe you money?
Yeah, no, we're gonna bill you. We're gonna bill you. Don't worry about that, man.
No, I owe you. I owe you thousands of dollars because that right there, I think that's exactly what it is.
That's what you told me earlier. You're like, I always wanted to make my dad laugh.
Yeah,
I couldn't do it, and That's what it is.
Yeah.
Little TJ just needs to make him laugh.
Shit, now I can conquer anything now.
Dude, now that we have that breakthrough, I'm gonna end it on that, man. But yeah, dude, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Super funny stuff. I'm really excited to see because it's been a while since I've seen you. Well, I saw you at Roller Town. That was the only place that was more like a official setting that wasn't like an open mic thing. So I'm really excited to see you doing like some MC or feature work soon.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, definitely. Put in call your local congressman. Put in a good word.
It'll get there,
all
man.
The clubs, right?
You're putting the work in. You're putting the reps in, and genuinely, it feels like you're already doing that when I watch you even perform at an open mic.
Yeah,
like you're very strong on stage. So I don't think you're gonna have any trouble with that. You just gotta go through all the steps that you comics tell me about that I think like, oh real. God. Yeah. Is
it cool if I plug like
absolutely,
my shit
everything.
I know it's gonna be, some time until this.
Yeah, it'll be like a couple weeks, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, no, for sure. If you can make it out, I produce my own show. Or started producing others, but this is one that I do every third Saturday in Saxy. It's at a Char Bar, and do it every single month. And we have phenomenal headliners for this month. We got two female headliners and everything for Women's History Month and everything. And so definitely come out to those shows if you can, and started producing as well for House of Blues.
Nice.
And so
I saw you on a flyer for a show out there, and I didn't know if you were doing that or if you were just on that.
Oh no, yeah.
What room are y'all doing that in?
We're doing Fountain Room.
Yeah,
Fountain Room. And so Fountain Room has been real dope because we get to have the DJ set up. Got the bar that's right there, so you get tore up, and then come laugh at the jokes, and we've been selling out that room consistently.
That's awesome.
So that's been really good too.
House of Blues is one of my favorite venues for so many things. I don't know what it is about. Some places just have vibes.
Yeah,
it's like the perfect mix of. It's a very professional, nice-looking place, but it somehow still feels like a little neighborhood thing. I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah,
like I never feel like, oh, I'm at a posh venue, but I'm like, this is a pretty nice place. But they let me in, so it must be a little, I've seen so many great concerts and comedy shows there, and I saw a couple comedy shows where they did it in the big room.
Yes,
and that was really fun. But
that's what we're trying to.
That's a great venue.
Build our way to.
Yeah,
definitely getting that big room. And the last thing, since this will be something that's coming out in a few weeks. We're putting together obviously a 420 show, but it's different. It's going to be an actual festival.
Okay.
And so we're looking to do comedy, and then we're going to have music as well. We're going to have a DJ doing his thing, but we also want to have vendors, and it actually be 420 products.
Right.
And so, of course, all legal. I know the feds watching. All legal cannabis, of course.
Yeah.
And so we're doing for these vendors, they'll be doing different types of foods. And then we have a sponsor from an actual dispensary where they'll be selling their flower, but then also to any other products they may have.
Where are you going to do it at?
We're doing it. So we were looking at a couple venues. One place that or one business that we have been hoping to work with is called the Weed Spot in Deep Ellum. That's who we just plan to work with, but not at that particular location because we want it to be able to be a wide open spot. But that's the final paperwork should be signed this week.
That's awesome.
And everything. So we have the venue set. But yeah, no, really excited, and especially too. We got house guest, which Jordan Yates. Are you familiar with him? So he has been working with a chef who does infused, but he's also does everything else. And they put a show on together, and he does his own thing. It's called Tripping on Comedy.
Okay.
And so they used to, and we're kind of talking about bringing it back, but do like the infused, completely legal, infused and stuff to add that element to the comedy.
Yeah.
Which was really dope. I did one of those shows before. I hosted one of them, and it was phenomenal. It was a great concept, and we're going to have him there and looking to do some more work with him. But yeah, that's, what's going on now. Of course, there's shows, but y'all gonna miss them by the time this come out. So, but I'll be at Oklahoma for sure.
Yeah.
Next month.
You post mostly on Instagram or Facebook? What's your preference?
Facebook. Facebook's TJ Evans. Don't forget the dots between T and the J and
T.J. Yeah.
Yes, and then also on Instagram it's TJ from Indy, and post all my stuff there. Looking to do more of the reels, that they do with the clips and stuff, which I've gotten a lot of traction off of those.
Yeah.
And so hoping that that also helps. With the journey.
Dude, you got it working, man.
Appreciate it, man.
Dude, the 420 thing sounds really fun.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm gonna send you an invite. And
oh yeah, absolutely.
Because what we plan on doing is, sell you the ticket, and then your gift as you come in is completely legal.
Through this whole pitch, I'm just gonna have on the bottom of the screen just flashing completely
legal. Delta 9, Delta 8, all that, CBD, all of that.
Yeah.
But you get a gummy as you walk in.
Nice.
And so, but what we're also trying to do too, to make sure, because we've heard nightmare stuff about not venues, but shows like this, or events like this, where they're not keeping track of how much people are eating.
Yeah.
Yes, while the chef is able to figure out the dosage, you're still not keeping track of how much people are eating. So that's what we're doing. We'll make sure we have like a kind of like a stamp card, that you'll do to your favorite like smoothie spot. You get on the ninth one, you get something free, whatever. But we want to keep track of how much people are actually eating. So on this card, once you hit the end,
you're done.
That's it. We can't give you any more.
We did a bicycle tour one time where you ride bikes to different breweries in over in like the Arts District.
Oh, okay.
There's all the little beer places over there, over by Stomping Ground.
Oh, shit. Okay, yeah.
And it was called something like the whatever trail 6-pack or something. So we were going to go to 6 different places. And at the start, they're like, okay, guys, we had a thing with tickets, and you tore a ticket off at each spot, and that got you 1 beer.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay. And they were like, now listen, if we see you purchasing beer at these places, you're off the trip.
Oh.
You only get the 1 at each one.
I like that.
And I was like, man, that's fucking stupid, Right. So at each place, I was like, I'm going to get the most, the strongest beer they have because I can only have 1, and this is dumb,
Yep.
And by the time we hit that 4th or 5th spot, I'm buzzed on a bicycle, and it's like, it's a good thing they didn't let me buy anymore. And I was like, I see why we have the rules now. Okay, all right, yeah. So no, I get it. It's people. It's like you get there, you get amped up. You're like, let's party, let's do it. Yeah.
Let's have a great time, and then people end up just going way too far with it, and that's what we want to make sure that doesn't happen. But I mean, I get it. You having fun. It's hard to avoid that.
Make good choices, people.
Yes. And actually, last thing, because I'm a guy that's just always just producing and coming up with different ideas or whatever. You let me know what you think on this.
Okay.
We're thinking of doing like a nomad type of mic where it's not at the same spot every week. We're moving around with it, kind of like on the back of a pickup truck, got a PA system, kind of just really taking it to the people.
Yeah.
And hitting like around popular mics that we know a lot of people will be at. And it's easy for people just to get to it. Like, hey, you at this club, we may be literally a couple doors down in the parking lot, or wherever.
That's
doing something like that.
So I played music growing up. I played guitar, and I loved punk rock music.
Yeah.
And that's like an old punk rock technique.
Yeah.
You would just pull up with your music and just play where the crowd is, right? You'd be like, we're going to do a parking lot show. We're going to be on the back of a truck, whatever.
Yeah.
And I mean, that to me goes back to like, just do it. You don't know what's going to catch on. And it's going to cost you almost nothing to do it, right? Nothing. Worst case scenario, you've got a fun story about this terrible thing you tried and it didn't work at all, right? That's worst case scenario, Yep. But no, I mean, if you go, there's so many little pockets all around DFW that you could do that at, that always have people Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You could have a different spot. You could do that quite a bit. I mean, just between, like, it wouldn't even have to be comedy clubs. Just pick a crowd, right? Like, you could roll up to Clyde Warren Park on a Saturday in Dallas, right? What is it where Plano House of Comedy is? What is that called? Legacy?
Yes, Legacy.
Legacy, yeah. All that area. I mean, think of all the spots in Addison that have a crowd built in. I mean, it's all over. Yeah, that would be fun. Dude, you could do, you could go to spots that you wouldn't even think of, like, anytime somebody's tailgating like a sporting event or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's already 20,000 people there. It's like chances are you can get 50 of them to stand around you.
Yeah, and pull people in.
Yeah.
And I think that and what is nice too about nowadays is the access to cameras. And so not necessarily access to the ones we want, but
yeah, but your phone, I mean,
but the phone or having people literally come in, that kind of style camera and recording it so that we could put it out.
Yeah.
Or people just caption, look what's happening. I'm at the Dallas Cowboys, tailgate. And they giving us a free comedy show, that kind of thing. And so, and it's just a brand and we want to be able to build it up.
I think you do it no matter what, because I mean, if the worst thing is you waste a little time and gas money,
for sure,
that's nothing.
Yeah.
And there's an old like NASA phrase, which is it's one test is worth 1,000 expert opinions.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So it's like, just fucking do it.
If
it sucks, it sucks.
And
then you can go.
And then you go back and do it again.
Yeah, and then we tried it, it sucked. We're gonna try this other spot. It's probably gonna suck, but no, I think it would be fun. Like if I was out somewhere walking like from a bar to another bar or from a restaurant to whatever, and I saw someone doing comedy, I'm gonna stop for a minute.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see what's going on. And then it's just on you. Like, is it funny? Are you gonna be able to keep me?
Yep.
Fantastic. And that's all you gotta worry about. So that's pretty good. And you're coming up on summer nights. It's going to be good weather to do that.
And I think it helps with the other comics that are going to be doing it with getting comfortable with the whole, one, like we talked earlier, about grasping people.
Yeah, because you're barking. You got to get them.
Yes. What's the method that you have to take in order to grasp people and keep them, but also to deal with kind of help you become numb to the, all right, this person's walking away now. And, mid joke, they just didn't like it and they're just going. But that's fine. Keep performing for the people who are there, that kind of thing. And so, but yeah, looking to have fun out here, man.
Dude, you could literally just go down to Deep Ellum with a little small amplifier and a microphone and just stand on a corner and just all the people that are going to blow by you and not give a shit, you're going to learn so much of how okay, this thing caught them and this thing, 30 people walked by.
Yes, right? Yes. And unfortunately, my wife don't let me go down there. She'll let me go to Deep Ellum.
I
I'm
understand.
like, I ain't told her yet that Dallas Comedy Club is Deep Ellum. But,
Deep Ellum goes through those cycles where it's nice and then it's really stabby and shooty and then it's nice again. And so I don't know.
It's confusing all the young white people down there because they really want to have fun. And it looks like fun. And then you get down there and, it was fun last Thursday, then this Thursday, So
Did you see that video going down of the cops playing music through their PA?
No.
Oh, it was hilarious, man. They're like rolling as slow as they can in their car, and they're just playing like this hard gangster rap through their PA system. I was like, hell yeah. It's like, that is Deep Ellum right now.
Yes. And that's what we need, man. We need that more from, our police officers, man. Just doing things to connect them to the community. Little shit like that, man. It goes a long way because people, you cool. We know we can hang out with you, but also too, what I noticed when you make that connection makes people respect you more. And so people around there, especially if they see you all the time, they know I'm not going to do any bullshit to try to put you in a bad spot.
That's the big part, right? It's like you need to be able to, if you're somebody who goes to Deep Ellum a lot and you see the same cops a lot.
Yep.
That's a big deal, right? Because then you're like, this guy's a part of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think they're getting back to that. I think Dallas had a real hard time because they just struggle to hire cops at all.
Yeah. Right.
But if they can do that, then I think it comes around. But we live here in Dallas, and man, I love our police because unless you're doing something real bad, they don't fuck with you, man. They're like, we got other problems. Oh, you're speeding a little bit?
Oh, I love it. I was going, so I'm out in the sticks, though.
Yeah.
I'm more towards Denton, this little town called Aubrey.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and so I'm out there, and I love the cops out there. Today, riding in the car, was going 67 in a 50. I'm like, yeah. And I see a cop, and I said, oh, shit. He's definitely pulling me over. Didn't even move.
he was taking a nap, man.
He was probably asleep, and that's the other thing too. I'm like, these cops, some of them don't care.
Yeah.
Like some of them are just like, you know what? We've seen worse.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna wait for the worst to come through. And they be running stop signs through there too, man.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? I kind of like these cops. You know, they put their dick on the table. I like that.
Well, there it is.
It is, man.
TJ saying back the blue. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. All right, man. I'm going to get you out of here. Dude, thank you so much. We'll get you back on here soon, man.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, man.
The I'm a Fan of podcast, music, comedy, and more.